All right, welcome to Fanatics Football, the football segment of the Fantasy Fanatics Podcast. I'm your host once again, James, and I'm joined once again by Nate. What's up, man?
So,
All right, and in today's episode, we're fresh into the off season. We're just going to be talking about fantasy awards again. This time, we'll be hitting the wide receivers for that. We'll talk about what happened in fantasy this year. We'll hand up some of our awards to sort of the main top wide receivers this year. And then after that, we'll take a look at some of the rookies this past year and how they did for each team. So how does that sound?
good.
All right, let's get right into it. We'll start with the wide receiver fantasy awards. Nate, I'm going to start with you for your first award, waiver wire pickup wide receiver of the year. I guess who's your runner up and then who's your winner?
So, for a waiver wire, same as previous weeks, under 50% drafted, total fantasy points. Runner up is Jalen Waddle. He was drafted with 43%. So, it's a pretty shallow league pickup. If you didn't pick him up in the first 2 weeks, he was probably gone. Total fantasy points. I think might have gone it backwards. So Michael Pittman Jr. should be the runner-up with 192, and he was drafted at 40%. And Jalen Waddle should be the winner. He was drafted 43% with 193. It was like one fantasy point off. I think Michael Pittman Jr. had 192, but yeah, they were both like probably gone in the first couple of weeks. If you didn't draft him and you tried looking on him for the waiver wire in the third week, it's probably already too late. I think both players are like 90%, like close to 90% owns by the end of the fantasy season. And I guess some shout outs would be Marquise Brown, Darnell Mooney, Christian Kirk, Jacoby Myers, and Marvin Jones Jr.
Yeah, I mean, both of those players were very productive. Probably either one of them could have won the award at that point. I guess you giving it to Jalen Waddle, that pretty much goes up to my next award, which is the rookie wide receiver of the year. And my runner-up is actually Jalen Waddle. He was fantastic this year as a rookie. He finished 16th in total fantasy points at the wide receiver position. So like you said, he was barely drafted in some leagues. And I mean, he finished with 193.8 fantasy points. I believe that's in half point PPR. And he averaged like around like 12.1 per game, which is insanely solid for where you got him, probably even off the waiver wire. But the only reason he didn't win Rookie of the Year was because this Rookie of the Year, he had an insane rookie season, and that's Jamar Chase for the Cincinnati Bengals. He finished number 5 overall in fantasy points this year. Insane numbers, 264.1 fantasy points in half PPR, 15.5 points per week. So every week, I know he was boomer bust for some of the weeks, but for the most part, he was pretty solid almost every week. And if you drafted him, what was it, mid third round, late fourth round, you definitely got prime value as he was a top 12 wide receiver at the end of the year. So my rookie of the year is Jamar Chase. And I guess I'll get to you for your next award. It's playoff MVP. I guess who's your runner-up, and then who do you have winning?
So I guess my runner-up would be Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had a really fantastic week for 14 to 18, and especially considering it was on Detroit, it's really impressive. But the winner is Cooper Kupp. He's just so good as a wide receiver. You just throw the ball to him, he just finds a way to catch it. And I guess shout outs would be Deebo Samuel, Justin Jefferson, Alan Lazard, Hunter Renfrow, Stephon Diggs, and Tyler Lockett. I will say that like after Deebo Samuel, there's like a pretty significant drop off in terms of I guess fantasy playoffs. So I guess really big shout out to Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, the guy's a rookie too. Like I didn't even mention him in my rookies. I know he wasn't at the level of the other two, but he had a great fantasy playoffs. Definitely agree with you. And then, Cooper Kupp all year, he was solid, especially when teams needed it the most, which was in the fantasy playoffs. I guess for my next award, I'm going to give out the injury wide receiver of the year. So my criteria for this was basically they had to have missed 3 or more games, and they had to have really solid production, which means that if they weren't injured, then they definitely would have been one of the top, I guess, players for the year. So I went by like fantasy points per game as well. So my runner up is Robert Woods of the LA Rams. Obviously, he wasn't having the season that his buddy Cooper Kupp was, but still a pretty solid season until he got hurt. He played 9 games. He averaged 12.7 half point fantasy points per game. Yeah, it's pretty solid. He was definitely worth it. Picking him, what was it, maybe like third round, third, fourth round around where he was going. Definitely really solid. Of course, he was overshadowed by Cup for most of the year, but when he did get hurt, obviously it opened the door for them to sign Odell Beckham. So, I mean, had he not gotten hurt, there's potential he could have finished maybe borderline top 12. Like he was definitely really solid. So, yeah, he's my runner up. But for winner, I guess I gave it to DeAndre Hopkins just because I feel like he was battling the injury most of the year. He only played like 10 games. He averaged 12.6 fantasy points per game, so almost as much as Robert Woods. But I feel like he was affected by the injury a lot more. So that's why I gave it to him. I just feel like his production, like he was like what, wide receiver one where he was drafted. It's like top 5, top 7 around there. Most leagues, people were drafting Hopkins. So I just feel like, if he was a lot healthier, he would have produced a lot better. He played a lot of fractions of games as well. I know Robert Woods, he tore that ACL in a practice, so he didn't really miss parts of games. But yeah, Hopkins, a lot of his production in game was affected by his injuries. So I definitely feel like he would have been a lot higher. So I gave him the injury wide receiver of the year. And then I'll bounce to you. You're handing out MVP for wide receivers, I guess. Who's your runner up, and then who's your MVP?
So for runner up, I gave it to, well, I guess more stating, I went by total fantasy points for it. Deebo Samuel was the runner up. He had 300 total fantasy points, which is really good because there's a pretty big drop off between Deebo and the guys under him. But there's a big drop off between the winner and Deebo, and that's going to be Cooper Kupp again. He got 367 total fantasy points. And I guess some shout outs to Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. I think if you had any 5 of these guys in your fantasy roster, you're probably pretty happy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was like an all-time season by Cooper Kupp. Definitely deserved the MVP. But Deebo Samuel was solid in his own right. You just putting up points every week. Pretty much the focal point of that 49ers offense. So definitely agree with that. And then for bust wide receiver of the year, that's the last award we're handing out. This is the only real negative award. Well, injury could be kind of negative as well, but these are guys that were drafted pretty early, whether first round or second round. They just didn't live up to the hype. I guess some honorable mentions would be DeAndre Hopkins, but because he won injury wide receiver of the year, I didn't feel like he was truly a bust. I feel like he could have performed better if he was healthier. Calvin Ridley, obviously, it was a weird situation that happened. He wasn't as bad as some of the others here, and it wasn't really I don't know, like bad. It wasn't really bad play on his part. It was more like off-field issues, I guess. And then I guess Kenny Galladay as well. If you ended up taking him like third round, fourth round, was kind of early, and yeah, he definitely didn't live up to the hype in New York. So I'll start with my runner-up. My runner-up is Julio Jones. Obviously, him being in Tennessee, for some reason the fit wasn't there. Also, he wasn't as healthy as he has been for most of his career. I know the last couple of years he's been banged up. Yeah, he kind of had a pretty disappointing season in my eyes. He just really didn't put up the points that I guess we thought that he was going to put up when he first signed with Tennessee. I know we talked about him and AJ Brown being this like dynamic duo. He only put up like 6.5 points in half point PPR. He only played 10 games, so obviously injury affected him, but he just wasn't himself. I don't know whether him and Tannehill, whether they didn't have that connection or whatnot, but a lot of people took him late first round, early second, or not first round, sorry, late wide receiver 1, early wide receiver 2, so maybe like third or fourth round, and he just didn't return value for them. So yeah, Julio Jones is my runner up, and then my winner, I have to give it to Allen Robinson. He was selected in wide receiver 1 for the most part, sometimes early wide receiver 2 as well. And yeah, things just did not go well for Robinson this entire season. I don't know what it was. The guy only put up 5.7 fantasy points per game. Just really not good overall. He played 12 games. I know he was injured during that latter part of the year, but all the quarterbacks going in and out, he just wasn't getting targeted enough. He just didn't produce from where you drafted him. So I have to give it to Allen Robinson. Hopefully, as a free agent, he'll land in a spot where he can sort of have a bounce back here next year. But yeah, I don't have a choice. I have to give it to him. He just underperformed from his draft projection. So, yeah, that's going to be the end of our fantasy awards for this week for the wide receivers. So now we'll move into talking about, I guess, all the rookie classes for each team this past season. There is an article on NFL.com that we'll take a look at, which sort of ranks them from 1 to 32. So, we'll start from rank 1, and Kansas City Chiefs got an A grade for their rookie class. I guess any thoughts on their class?
Um, Not in general. I think Casey is generally a pretty solid team every year. I feel like they may not have been as strong this year as last year, but they did have quite a few rookies. I think for their level of performance, considering they were able to contribute to basically a really deep playoff team, potentially a Super Bowl team. I think they did pretty well overall.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like you said, not a lot of big names, but two major guys, I guess, stand out for me: Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith on the offensive line. We saw how bad their offensive line was in the Super Bowl last season against the Buccaneers, where Mahomes pretty much had no time to throw. We knew they had to revamp it, and they did. Two guys from the draft, Humphrey and Smith, they became starters. They started all 17 games, and this is one of the best offensive lines in the league. They got a couple free agents to come in. They traded for Orlando Brown. They got Tooney from the Patriots, and yeah, they just improved their offensive line. So I feel like just those two guys pretty much made their rookies really high ranked. So I agree with that grade. We'll move to the Broncos now, who are second ranked. They got an A minus. I guess anything that stands out from Denver.
I guess for Denver, I can see why they got the grade that they did because the Broncos are basically a sleeper team at this point, and I feel like some of the rookies did contribute quite a bit. For example, Javonte Williams, Patrick Surtain. So yeah, I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, they call Javonte Williams Mr. Tackle Breaker because he was tough to bring down. I think Patrick Surtain also made the all rookie team this year. So yeah, really solid players that they were able to draft. Definitely agree. And then ranked number 3 was the Miami Dolphins, who got an A minus. Yeah, I really like their class. I guess, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean they got a star player in Jalen Waddle, and he's only a rookie, so that's a really good deal right there.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Jalen Phillips wasn't too bad. I know he still has some things to work on, but still pretty solid in his own right. Definitely a couple other guys like Javon Holland. He had some impressive plays that he made as well. Definitely liked him. I guess moving to the next team, we have the Detroit Lions. Wow, they got ranked 4, A minus. They must have had some great rookies looking through. I guess, what are your thoughts here?
I mean, I guess this is one of those ranks that you can't really base it entirely on the schedule because Lions didn't necessarily have, I guess, a good result from the schedule. But if you just look at some of the guys like Penei Sewell, you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, who again played really well, especially for a rookie. I think that um, their start this is kind of like a really good start to a rebuilding team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. St. Brown in the 4th round was a huge steal. Penei Sewell, of course, he's going to become a star. Just give him a little bit of time. He's really solid. And then I think Jamar Jefferson from round 7, he even got a couple starts when they had a lot of injured running backs. So, well, he might not have gotten starts, but he definitely got in games and he was pretty solid. So all the way down, the Lions had some great rookies there. Getting to rank number 5, the Cincinnati Bengals, they got an A minus as well. I mean, Yeah, just Jamar Chase alone made this rookie class really good. I guess what are your thoughts on it overall?
I mean, you could argue that they deserve an A considering how far they got just after this draft class. So basically, I mean, Jamar Chase's results kind of speak for itself. His chemistry with Joe Burrow, just his talent in general, um, makes the offense of the Bengals really scary to play against. Evan McPherson, I think he's one of the best kickers in general in the league, if not one of the best, I guess, rookie kickers. So again, I think this was a really good draft.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Trey Hill was a pretty decent pickup in round 6, as well as Chris Evans, who I think is going to be the backup running back next year. I don't know whether they move on from Samaje Perine, but Chris Evans definitely looked really solid when he played as well. Definitely agree. Really solid rookie class for that Bengals team. New England Patriots got ranked 6. They got an A minus as well. Um, I guess what are your thoughts on their rookie class?
I mean, they got Mac Jones, who was a perfect fit for the system. So I think that's a good draft. They got Christian Barmore, who was an absolute steal. I think Barmore should have been a first round draft, but he fell all the way to the second round. So I mean, if it falls to you, why not take it, right? You get a first round value in the second round. So yeah, I think they did really good overall.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I guess the three guys that stood out to me, Mac Jones, obviously. I mean, what a rookie season. He was the best rookie quarterback by far. He was the fifth guy at quarterback taken off the board. So he outperformed everyone in front of him. You talked about Christian Barmore, really solid overall. He was just one of the more consistent guys on the defensive line for the Patriots. And then, of course, Ramondre Stevenson, what a steal in round 4. There are some games he couldn't be stopped. He was just running through everybody. I definitely agree. The Patriots really had a nice draft there. I guess we'll move to rank 7, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. They also got an A minus. I guess give me your thoughts on their draft.
I guess with the Cowboys, I think their draft was pretty good, but I guess there's kind of a gap between them and I guess kind of the rest of the teams that got an A. I guess it's mainly just because of their record that they kind of got an A minus.
And also, I think it was mostly Micah Parsons that carried this class. I don't feel like there was another really established player that came out of it. Of course, he's the defensive rookie of the year. He was really solid all season. Yeah, I feel like they need to get, I guess, more out of some of the players in this draft class. They did get some starts here from some of their players, but yeah, I definitely think that these guys have a lot of growth to do. We'll move to rank 8, and that's the Cleveland Browns. Now we move into the B grades, so B plus for them. I guess since you're a Browns fan, talk a bit about the Browns.
So I guess if you're a Browns fan, you probably think they deserve an A minus considering they got JOK in the second round, and again he's like a first round value type player, and for whatever reason people just didn't want to take him. So falls to you. Obviously, you're going to take that. That's like a lot of value, and the Browns needed a guy like JOK. Greg Newsome, again, he was a really good ad. He's a good cornerback, and the Browns needed another cornerback to complement Denzel Ward because Ward was having to do a lot of work on his own. So they had two really good players. Anthony Schwartz, unfortunately, he wasn't utilized enough, in my opinion. So I don't think we've seen his full potential yet. And I guess for the rest of the guys, James Hudson, Tommy Togiai, they did pretty decent. Tony Fields, Richard LeCount, they did all right. Demetric Felton, um, again, I think he has some potential, but he's, I guess, hasn't had enough use because obviously you're playing behind Nick Chubb, you're playing behind Kareem Hunt, so it's kind of hard to stand out.
Yeah, I mean, like he was like the running back 4 on that depth chart, but I think even when he got in, he was still like he had some solid runs, some solid weeks. So Felton was decent. Yeah, like you mentioned, Newsome, JOK, and Anthony Schwartz. I felt like they could have been higher than the Cowboys just because they had a lot of hits in this draft. So, yeah, great from the Cleveland Browns. Getting to number 9, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, who also have a B plus grade. I guess give me your thoughts on them.
I guess the Eagles, um, I didn't feel like too impressed with their results, if that makes sense. So I feel like with some of the guys they got, they probably should have finished a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I like some of the players they got, like Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Kenneth Gainwell. Like they were pretty solid. Yeah, I just feel like this rookie class for them hasn't reached their full potential yet. So I feel like we haven't seen as much as we can. Dickerson was probably their best rookie, if I was gonna say, just because Devontae Smith, I don't know, he was just up and down all year. It happens for rookies, obviously, and then Kenneth Gainwell obviously just didn't get enough reps at the running back position. So, yeah, a decent class from the Eagles though. On rank 10, we have the Houston Texans. They got a B plus. I guess give me your thoughts on them.
I think they did okay. I mean, Nico Collins, he's all right. Davis Mills, he didn't really play all of the games, but for some of the games he was in, he did pretty well for a rookie quarterback. I think it was pretty rough for rookie quarterbacks, except for Mac Jones overall. So can't really be too hard on Davis Mills. I think for the rest of the guys, they were okay.
Yeah, I mean, just getting to them, I feel like they didn't have a lot of draft picks, but they got a few hits on their few picks. Obviously, Davis Mills and Nico Collins in round 3. Mills looks like a decent like fill-in starter until either Watson comes back or they draft another quarterback. Collins looks like he's going to be a solid wide receiver. Brevin Jordan, pretty decent tight end. But yeah, not having a lot of picks, I think, hurt them. They definitely could have been higher on this list for sure. I guess moving to number 11, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, who got a B plus as well. I guess any thoughts on theirs as a whole?
I guess as a whole, I kind of liked Alex Leatherwood. Um, I guess having a really good O-liner is something that you'd want to take, especially if you're um, trying to make a playoff push in the future. I think the Raiders could have been a sleeper team, but unfortunately they lost some of their players on offense, so it kind of didn't work out in the end. But I think they positioned themselves to be kind of like a sleeper team in the following years because of this draft class.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Leatherwood struggled, I think, early in the year, but I think he switched positions and then he played really solid after that. Morig, I think he started every game this year. He was also really solid. Nate Hobbs as well made some big plays for the Raiders this year. So yeah, decent class for them. Definitely got a lot of hits as well. We'll move to number 12, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got a B grade. There's a few hits here. I guess give me your thoughts.
I think in terms of offense, they had some really good players. Najee Harris, he's really good. Pat Fryermuth, again, he was getting a lot of reps as a tight end, which you want. And I think other than that, I guess I wasn't too impressed. So I think B is probably where where they should be. No pun intended. I feel like outside of like maybe Dan Moore and Kendrick Green, they could have maybe got some more offensive line earlier in the draft because I think that's kind of going to be their biggest problem in the following years.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I also think that like Presley Harvin was a decent punter for them as a rookie. I know he definitely can be better, but he's a rookie, so I can't really put that on him. Um, yeah, but yeah, you hit most of the major names. Najee Harris, he was a stud this year. I think we gave him a fantasy rookie running back of the year, so he was really solid. Fryermuth, really solid as well. He might even get tight end rookie of the year. We'll have to see, but yeah, a pretty solid class overall from them. I definitely agree on the offensive line part for sure. Moving to rank 13, we have the LA Chargers. They got a B. I guess give me your thoughts on this class.
I think from this class there wasn't really, I guess, too much that stood out for me. I guess maybe Rashawn Slater. I guess he made basically the entire offense much easier, especially considering how good he is on the offensive line. But I guess that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, I mean, he was clearly the best rookie out of this draft. You're really solid. I think he was on the all rookie team as well. Sante Samuel, like he was decent. I felt like he got burned quite a bit though on some of his coverages, but he'll definitely get better. Josh Palmer as well. I mean, if they lose one of their free agent wide receivers, Palmer's definitely gonna have a bigger role next year for sure. So definitely some really solid rookies here. Then getting to the Green Bay Packers at 14, they gotta be pretty decent draft, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, I guess it was. I mean, they did get Eric Stokes. They got Amari Rogers, but I think they should have drafted a wide receiver a little bit earlier because Aaron Rodgers' biggest concern was he didn't feel like he had enough help. So if if you're trying to like show Aaron Rodgers, yeah, we're gonna get you more help, then I would think trying to get a wide receiver a little bit earlier would kind of be the play. They got Josh Myers, they got some O-liners, so I think that does help a little bit, but I feel like maybe they should have drafted a wide receiver earlier.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Eric Stokes, he was decent. Feel like he's going to grow as well. Royce Newman, actually, he was pretty decent on the offensive line. I know they had a lot of injuries there, but he definitely played solid. And then, yeah, like you said about Amari Rogers, I definitely think he can sort of take that next step. Hopefully next season, we don't know whether Aaron Rodgers will be there or not, but we'll definitely have to see about that. Getting to the Falcons at 15, they got a B grade. Um, yeah, I mean Kyle Pitts, man, this guy was a stud. He might even win rookie tight end of the year. I don't know about that, but he was really solid. Yeah, I guess so. What are your thoughts on this rookie class?
Yeah, I think Kyle Pitts is far and away kind of the best pick that they made in the entire draft. He's basically a go-to tight end, which again is really hard to find. I mean, Pat Fryermuth is also a really good tight end, and I think Kyle Pitts, he looks like he's playing better than someone like Pat Fryermuth, at least in terms of like fantasy points. So again, a really good ad, and he's pretty much like their one of their go-to guys for catching. So I think in that respect, they did really good there. In terms of the rest of the guys, not really too much stands out. Maybe like Jalen Mayfield, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jalen Mayfield is pretty decent. I guess for where they got him. Richie Grant, obviously, we want to see more of. Avery Williams as well. So definitely a class so we can sort of, I guess, look ahead to for the most part. And getting to rank 16, we have the New Orleans Saints who got a B. I guess give me your thoughts on their rookie class.
I guess for their rookie class, there wasn't really too much that stood out for me. Um, yeah, I guess maybe P Werner. I guess it looks like he was used pretty heavily as a rookie, so that's always something that you want to see. But I think in general they haven't really stood out too much yet, so I guess we'll just have to see their development.
Yeah, honestly, this rookie class was so up and down. The only one that I really liked was Paulson Adebo. Like he played pretty solid, but like we saw Ian Book having to start a game for them. He didn't look great. Peyton Turner had all these injuries. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if it wasn't for Adebo, they could probably be like one of the bottom three rookies classes. So yeah, I definitely think that they have, I guess, a lot more they need to see from this rookie class. I'll move to 17, the Baltimore Ravens. They got a B. I guess give me your thoughts on their rookies.
I guess this is kind of similar to maybe the Saints in terms of um, not really too much of their guys have stood out yet. Maybe Brandon Stevens. I'd like to say Rashad Bateman. I think he has a lot of potential, but I feel like he just hasn't gotten enough reps to stand out yet. So I guess that's just kind of a general thoughts on the Ravens.
Yeah, I definitely think we need to see more from both Rashad Bateman and Odafe Oweh because I feel like those are the two best players out of this draft for them. And yeah, they didn't really do as much as we'd like them. I think Bateman started out the year with an injury, so definitely really tough for him. But yeah, we'll move to the next team. Rank 18 was the Chicago Bears, who got a B minus. I guess give me your thoughts on this team.
you could say maybe this should be more of a C plus, I guess, draft because I wasn't really too impressed by the picks, at least going by how the year ended up. I guess Justin Fields, they wanted to bring him in to kind of be a quarterback that they can, I guess, rely on. Unfortunately, he had a really rough season, so things didn't really work out for him this year. I think maybe Khalil Herbert or I guess, Chris Tonga would kind of be their best picks, mainly because of how much they used them. So that's kind of, they got a lot of value for where they drafted them, but pretty much that's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they have some decent picks here. They just didn't use them a lot. Hopefully next year we'll see Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert, I guess, take that next step. Hopefully Tevin Jenkins can become a great tackle for them as well. We'll move to number 19. That's the Carolina Panthers. They got a B minus. I guess give me your thoughts on this team.
I guess one player that I think stood out a little bit would be maybe Chuba Hubbard, I guess, for the offense. It looks like he was started quite a bit. In fantasy, he wasn't necessarily doing, I guess, well enough that you'd want to pick him up in, I guess, shallower leagues. So he was maybe like a deep league pickup at running back at best. So I guess at least in terms of the offense, there's maybe a little bit more to be desired.
Yeah, I definitely agree. JC Horn tearing his ACL was the worst in the third game of the season. He was looking so solid. But yeah, Terrace Marshall, Tommy Tremble, and Chuba Hubbard, this is the makings of a great offense in the future. These guys just need to realize their potential as they had decent years. Could have used Marshall a bit more, but I think Tremble and Hubbard were pretty decent. So yeah, I guess good overall from them. I'll move to the 20th team, which is the Giants. They also got a B minus. I guess give me your thoughts on them.
I guess again, this could potentially be kind of a C plus, I guess, type of draft. But again, you can't always just look at the results. So there could be some potential on this team, but we'll have to see. I mean, Kadarius Toney was all right. Aziz Ojolari was pretty good as well. He was used quite a bit, so that's pretty important. Um, I guess that's about it for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where I'm at as well. Those top two guys, they were definitely the main ones. Tony battled a lot of injuries as well. Yeah, hopefully with the new coaching staff coming in, this team will sort of turn things around. I definitely like them quite a bit. So yeah, hopefully some of these rookies will get more playing time this coming year. Then the Jets were ranked number 21, so two New York teams back to back. Now we're in the C grade. They got a C plus. I guess give me your thoughts. There's a lot of rookies here.
Yeah, they had quite a lot of picks, but unfortunately, they didn't really get any game-changing picks, so they ended up staying, I guess, close to where they were last season. Um, Zach Wilson, he was okay. I think Elijah Moore might have been their best pick, maybe Michael Carter, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like they could have been higher. I know Zach Wilson wasn't the greatest this year, but he's still developing. Elijah Vera Tucker was really solid coming in to play offensive line for them at the guard position. Elijah Moore, some of the games he played when he wasn't hurt, he looked very good. He's definitely going to be a solid receiver for them. And then Michael Carter was pretty decent as well when he played. So definitely some solid rookies here. They're definitely going to need to see more from some of the other guys. But yeah, I think it was a pretty decent year for the Jets. And then we got Washington Commanders, who were the football team last year at number 22. They got a C plus grade. I don't know. Give me your thoughts on some of their rookies here.
Um, it's kind of hard to, I guess, tell with some of these guys. I guess they didn't really stand out to me that much, so I feel like C plus is a pretty good grade for that. I guess maybe their best players would have been um, Cosme. Unfortunately, he didn't play all of the games. Maybe John Bates because of how much he was used and where they drafted him. Maybe Jamin Davis, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Cosme was probably their best rookie, battled injuries most of the year. Jamin Davis, I mean, he was decent. Definitely, you could tell he was a rookie though this year. De'Ami Brown, they didn't use him enough. I think he showed spurts of talent, but they just didn't use him enough. And then yeah, John Bates was thrown out there with the Logan Thomas injury. So yeah, definitely they have some good rookies here. They just need to, I guess, use them a bit more this coming season. But then we get to number 23. That's San Francisco 49ers. They got a C grade. Um, I guess, yeah, give me your thoughts on them.
I think Trey Lance, I feel like he could become a pretty good quarterback for the 49ers, but it's going to be hard to see because I think he was basically competing with starts with Jimmy G. So Jimmy G is already established, so you're not going to be playing too many games. So I guess we'll just have to see what he does next year. I guess Trey Sermon was all right. I kind of like Elijah Mitchell, especially from where they drafted him. I think they got really good value there.
I was gonna say the only person I was really impressed with from this draft class was Elijah Mitchell. I just feel like the rest of this class, we haven't really seen much from them yet, including Trey Lance. Trey Sermon, it was a surprise that they barely used him. So yeah, Elijah Mitchell is definitely probably the steal of last year's draft class for sure. And then getting to number 24 was Minnesota. They got a C grade. I guess give me your thoughts on them.
I guess their draft class was kind of like average overall, so I guess maybe that's why they got a C. I mean, Christian Darisaw, I think he was a good pick, but other than that, they ended up getting Kellen Mond, which I guess in the third round, I'm not sure why you draft, I guess, a quarterback there, especially when you already have Kirk Cousins. The rest of the guys, not really, I guess, feeling too much. So I guess Christian Darisaw was kind of like the best pick by far, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know he was injured for quite a bit, so that might have hurt him. But yeah, he's pretty decent. But yeah, like you said, other than that, they just didn't get a lot of bang for their buck at each position, in my opinion. Definitely could have had a bit better of a draft. Getting to number 25, we have the Buffalo Bills, who are at a C. Um, I don't know. I just didn't really see a lot here. I mean, Greg Rousseau was decent. Boogie Basham was okay. I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts?
I don't think they did too well in the drafts, in my opinion. I mean, they got Rousseau. I think they're in position to get some players that could have been potentially better than Rousseau, but again, Rousseau is an all right pick. It's pretty good. Um, that's pretty much it for me. The rest of the guys, we'll just have to see what they do next year.
Yeah, this is more of we'll wait till next year kind of thing. They haven't really shown a lot. Yeah, Russo and Basham definitely need to keep taking the next step. And then getting to number 26, we have Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They gave them a C. Um, I don't know. Yeah, there wasn't a lot here. I guess. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it looks like most of these guys they barely got any games if they got, or yeah, they didn't really get starts. They didn't really get too many games. Most of them. They drafted a quarterback. Not really too sure why, but I guess they weren't expecting Tom Brady to leave. So I guess we'll be able to see what their quarterback does. Um, yeah, they didn't really do too much with the draft because they have, I guess, a lot of free agents. They did really well the season before, so I guess we'll just have to see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Tryon was probably the most decent pick. He got a few sacks here and there, but I guess other than that, they definitely need to, I guess, use these rookies a little bit more. Number 27 was the Arizona Cardinals. They got a C minus. Um, yeah, I guess give me your thoughts on them.
I guess I think Rondale Moore does have some potential, but unfortunately on the fantasy end, he didn't. He was really good starting. He had a really good start, but he just wasn't able to, um, I guess, have a really good end to the fantasy season. So I guess that was a little bit disappointing, but I think he does have some potential. I think Zavin Collins is all right, and that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only two guys that really stood out for me were Zaven Collins and Rondell Moore. Like you said, they could have been used a bit more. Collins, yeah, he was decent, I guess. Rondell Moore could have been used a bit more in the offense. I guess he did struggle near the end of the year as he had a really good early start, in my opinion. I don't know when Hopkins went down, the offense just kind of dried up, in my opinion, outside of James Conner. So he definitely needs to be used a lot more next season. Number 28 was the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had a lot of draft picks. I don't know. I guess give me your thoughts.
I mean, C minus is understandable considering how low the results were, and we expected Trevor Lawrence to kind of be a game-changing quarterback, and he might still have that potential. It's just his rookie season. It just happens sometimes. Um, and they didn't really have the best coach. I mean, Urban Meyer's an amazing college coach, but he just didn't really work out in the NFL. And I think um, almost injuring your own kicker doesn't really help either. I guess Trevor Lawrence is probably the best pick. Maybe Andre Cisco. Um, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty disappointing from this rookie class. Of course, Trevor Lawrence started every game. He'll definitely look to grow next season. Travis Etienne obviously tearing his ACL in the preseason, so he didn't get to play any games. So hopefully we'll see him next year. Tyson Campbell is probably the one I was the most impressed with. He was a pretty decent corner. He'll definitely be like a top corner for them in the future. Andre Cisco, yeah, he was pretty decent as well. And Luke Farrell played a lot of games for them at tight end as well. So yeah, decent class. We just haven't seen a lot from them yet. So hopefully next year they'll be able to play a bit better. Getting to number 29, the LA Rams. Now we're in the D grades. They got a D plus. Yeah, not a lot here. I guess any thoughts?
Honestly, I don't think there were really any players that stood out. Maybe Ernest Jones had decent value considering he was drafted round 3, but this is pretty much a team that won the Super Bowl not because they drafted well, but they had a really good offseason. They ended up getting Matthew Stafford. Their team was already a playoff level team. They had some free agents in Odell, so they ended up having just really good veterans overall. That's how they won.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ernest Jones. He was decent in the playoffs for them. But yeah, it wasn't like amazing because, like you said, they had a lot of vets. And Ben Skowronek, he was famously known for being overthrown by Matthew Stafford all the time. So I mean, yeah, he didn't really have a great rookie season either. So I mean, yeah, they really didn't need their rookies this year. Hopefully next year they'll develop a bit better. Number 30, the Indianapolis Colts also got a D plus. Yeah, just not a lot here. I guess give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I wasn't really too impressed with the picks that they made. Unfortunately, the Colts didn't really do too well this season either. I think we were kind of expecting Matthew Stafford's situation with the Colts by bringing in Carson Wentz, but fortunately, they didn't draft well, so that may have played a part in the Colts not making the playoffs, but not really too sure about that.
Yeah, the only one that really did anything was Quiddy Pay. He did start 15 games, but yeah, just we haven't seen enough yet from this rookie class. Hopefully, we'll see more next season. Then the Tennessee Titans were ranked 31. They also got a D plus. There's really not much here. I guess. Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, this is again another team that they already have established vets, so they're not really looking for game-changing rookies. They're just looking for guys who can kind of just play the role, kind of stand in the gap. So that's pretty much who they got.
Yeah, just really tough overall. And then 32, Seahawks got a D. They only had 4 draft picks. Actually, not even 4. They had 3 draft picks and one undrafted free agent. Eskridge was hurt most of the year, and both Trey Brown and Forsyth just didn't really pan out for them. Like they just really didn't have much here. I guess give me your thoughts on the Hawks.
I mean, I guess if they're trying to protect Wilson because he's getting up there in age, maybe you should draft an O-liner first, I guess. But with only, I guess, like 3 picks, your priority would be how do you maximize Wilson's value. So I think they should have tried to do that. I'm not sure what their plan was. Maybe they thought Eskridge would be the guy that would maximize Wilson's value, but I would have gone for protection first.
Yeah, I think Jake Curran, the guy they got as a free agent, he was decent. Like he was good at like run blocking and stuff. Like that's how Rashad Penny kind of like popped off at the end of the season and stuff. But like outside of that, the rookies just didn't really give them that much this year. So hopefully they'll have more picks for this coming draft. We'll definitely be talking about the draft. It's going to be exciting. Hopefully, as we get closer to it, we'll either preview the draft or we'll recap it. We'll do something for the draft. So that it'll definitely be exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And yeah, that's going to be the end of Fanatics football for this week. Just make sure you check us out on Twitter and Instagram at FanFan Podcast. We've been posting picks for NHL and NBA. So definitely go check that out. This podcast will be on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Just make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications on YouTube, leave comments, reviews, all that good stuff. And yeah, it was nice looking at the rookie classes and handing out the wide receiver awards this week. And we'll talk to you guys on the next episode.